My name is Barry Schnurr. I'm the CEO of David Schnurr Associates. Based in southern Germany, Jochen is a nitinol metallurgist and the vice president of Euroflex. Jochen, thanks again for joining us. We're going to be talking primarily about catheter quality tubing amongst the whole range of nitinol capabilities. Can you talk just quickly and explain what we mean by catheter quality nitinol tubing?
Yeah, so thank you, Barry, for the invitation to talk about that today. So yes, there are differences in how nitinol can be processed, and especially for tubing, there are two different kind of, I would say, families of nitinol tubing. One is more for, let's say, the stent and the heart valve direction, which is mainly driven by OD and wall or OD and ID wall tolerances. And on nitinol catheter tubes, it's more the ID and OD tolerances which plays a big role. That's from the perspective of dimensions. That's what's driving it. And the other thing is that you typically want to have long pieces. So one way to do that is kind of having continuous processes to make those tubes and to make them suitable for long pieces you need for catheters. And on the other side, have a cost-effective way of production and make them available for catheters, because it's not a multiple use or an implant, it's a single use instrument typically. So cost plays a big role.
Great. So generally, what applications are best suited then for catheter quality tubing?
So I would say, I mean, anything typically which is, let's say, what we call the over the wire catheters. So where you have let's say an inner tube where you push the guide wire through, and you have an outer tube where you put the pressure through for let's say, for example, blowing up the balloon. And to make that flexible and to make that kind of to make that stiff enough and flexible enough to go around the curves, nitinol is a very good let's say material to do that, because we don't go that far deep into nitinol today, but one of those capabilities is those let's say the industry calls superelasticity. So you can bend it very far, and it comes back to the original shape once it's released, and that gives it that's a great instrument you can use for catheters, because there you have to go through very small curves, radiuses, and you don't want to. What you don't want is that the catheter is kinking on its way, and that's what you can realize with nitinol catheter tubing.
No, I think it's a great point. I mean, there are certainly off-the-shelf materials or kind of generally specified nitinol materials, but they can be highly tuned as well, even before you go into custom alloys or differential materials.
I mean, what we're offering, we have an extensive stock list where, let's say, if you want to start with a certain project, you can just let's say pick something off the stock list to get started, and once you're clear what kind of dimension and what kind of properties you need, then you can have then we can make a custom run, and by that you can really cut down your development time quite a bit if you start with what's available on the shelf. Perfect.
So I think you certainly hinted at this, but nitinol is considered, obviously, and is for implants an expensive material to use. What is the key differentiation in terms of an advance in terms of the manufacturing process that leads to this less expensive catheter quality tubing that you can use in longer lengths?
I mean, of course, one way to bring the cost down is, yes, of course, first of all, that's true. I mean, nitinol is a little bit more expensive than stainless steel. On the other side, you can do designs with a nitinol tube you can't do with stainless steel. And we mentioned about the kinking already. Right. But one way to make it effectively is kind of do it in a continuous process. And by that you can really dramatically kind of cut the cost down. But of course, you pay with tolerances on the wall, but that's typically not what is important for a catheter typically. I mean, it's more important for stent quality.
Very good. Yeah, and I think the final piece, I talked about the facility in Costa Rica and having having been there, and I think this is unique in Costa Rica, of having that kind of advanced metals processing facility. You had pointed out to me that, you know, it's not really the difference in the cost of labor, but the equipment itself, given that it's automated and you know, continuous process. That's really the impact.
I mean, we see a growing demand on nitinol tubing worldwide, and that's why we put an additional manufacturing plant into Costa Rica, because it's a great place to be there. I mean, there's great labor there, they're great people, and and they're very high quality in what they can make there. So we don't see any differences, quality difference between our German facility and the Costa Rican facility. So it's, but the positive thing is we are closer to our customers in the US. That's a very important point for us, of course.
Very good. Thanks. Please do follow up with us on anything specific. Again, you can either get a hold of us through the DSA website and just send us questions with what you need. Talk to you soon.